Howdy, y'all. I hope you are having a great evening. I am Carly Dempsey. I am a marine biologist, a recipient of the George Snow Scholarship Fund, and a true dying breed, a born and raised Floridian. I was raised just a ways down the road off of Lyons and Hillsborough. I grew up going camping in the Everglades and spending my summers snorkeling off the beach. I was raised by a retired commercial fisherman who took me fishing in the channels every chance he got and told me stories of the sea. By the time I was 5 years old, I knew I wanted to make the ocean my life and become a marine biologist. I got older, and as every child does, became more aware of the world I was living in. The beaches I grew up having picnics on slowly started getting more red tide signage, and the camping spots where I had learned to climb big cypress trees started getting hit with more hurricanes. And so I knew from this very young age that all I wanted to do was help the environment and community that raised me. And that meant getting my education and educating others. I began taking college classes full-time when I was 15. I began volunteering at Gumbo Limbo Nature Center at 16, now having dedicated over 500 hours to the city of Boca Raton. And at 17, I became involved with clubs and local organizations dedicated to cleaning up my community. Although the true test of my commitment to this community actually began when I graduated high school, when I first truly dipped my toes into the world I had wanted to become a part of for so long. I knew I only had 3 semesters left of my undergraduate degree, and I had better make as much of a difference as possible in the time I had. Having applied to the George Snow Scholarship Fund that February of my senior year, I was lucky enough to enter this next big phase of my life with a support system I never knew I would need. I'd always been so dedicated to those around me, not always the best at giving myself that kind of kindness. I had the tendency to forget some very important things, like mental health, physical health, and financial readiness. At the same time, we had our orientation for the Scholarship Fund in May of 2023. I had already begun working full-time as a research diver for an ecological consulting firm with long hours cataloging biodiversity in aquatic systems. We analyzed damage done by local developments. If I'm being honest, it was a brutal awakening. And it was a very low point in my life in terms of mental health. Yet, from the very beginning, from our initial orientation, the George Snow family gave me support I didn't know I needed. And even though I was intent on standing on my own, they ensured I could still turn to them whenever I needed. I began that fall semester taking 18 credit hours, starting my undergraduate research project in the Aquatic Botany and Ecology Lab, working part-time, and still volunteering in my community whenever I could. But with the help of my Snow family, I also got to do something I never thought that I would have been able to do. Extracurricular and community-centered activities that were not only related to my future endeavors, but those that create college memories you know you're going to stick with the rest of your life. I never imagined myself joining these organizations in college, but I thought, hey, if I only have 3 semesters. And I quickly found lifelong friends and shared my love of my community with my community by becoming community service director and working with local organizations such as Boca Helping Hands and Women in Distress. Without the support of the George Snow family, I never would have been able to give myself that. And suddenly, this family helped me find my sisterhood, where I've met lifelong friends, one even standing in this room as a fellow George Snow recipient, Chloe Orlando, wherever you are. Starting in the spring semester, I was also able to go to Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute for the Semester by the Sea program, which was the opportunity of a lifetime to fully immerse myself in marine science and make lifelong professional connections that have helped me secure my future. Moving 2 hours north for only 3 months was not easy, but thanks to the George Snow family, I had a strong foundation to support me. I was able to complete my semester focusing on growing in my field and not overly worried about working an extra job, something I had done since I was 16. I instead had one of the most important experiences of my life so far, getting to finally study everything I dreamed of helping, focusing on the exact environment that got me passionate in the first place, being surrounded by like minds who were just as dedicated as I was. Over the past summer, I became an educator at a marine science program that focused on providing environmental education to at-risk communities, teaching them about what Florida has to offer. I was able to go into work each day and see the difference I was making. And in the afternoons, I volunteered at a youth climate coalition focusing on corporate and congressional sustainable strategy. I also was invited to the University of Texas at Austin by the National Science Foundation for a short course focusing on my research topic, knowing that my small undergrad project, as so often does, had now turned into a large manuscript needing to be published. In the fall, I began working at the National Save the Sea Turtle Foundation as an administrative assistant, working on public outreach and conservation research. I became president of the undergraduate club run through the Ecological Society of America. I began writing for my university's environmental news organization. I finished my undergraduate thesis and presented thrice. Finally, after 3 of the most challenging, amazing, and unforgettable semesters of my life, I graduated cum laude in biological sciences honors research with a minor in political science and certificates in environmental science and undergraduate research. I know it's a mouthful. I was able to walk across that stage, acknowledging that this accomplishment of mine is not mine alone, but in part due to all the support I have received from those around me. I'm excited to start my PhD in the fall at the University of Texas at Austin. Go Bulls. Marine Science Institute in the newly developed ecotoxicology lab, becoming the first doctorate in my family, and working on how various toxins impact marine organisms across the globe at a historic institution. Even though I have finished my bachelor's degree, I am grateful to still be part of the George Snow family, who are continuing to support me in my graduate studies. Until then, I am continuing my work at the foundation, finalizing my manuscript for my second publication in a peer-reviewed journal, and attending research conferences, presenting at the Southeastern Estuarine Research Society meeting next week at Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, and the Tomography for Scientific Advancement North America meeting at the Museum of Natural History in New York City in May. I am so grateful to say that I am part of the George Snow family. The love that this community has for young minds cannot be wrapped up in such little time. I came into this career due to the love I have for my Florida home that raised me, but I would not have been nearly as successful without this community that has understood my passion and love for the ocean. Thank you, folks, and have a great rest of your evening.